All right. Good afternoon to you, gentlemen. I'm here today with Klitos Christodoulou and Elias Iosif, two PhDs and faculty members from the Institute for the Future from the University of Nicosia. And I'm very pleased to be talking with them today about their upcoming collaboration with Obyte and announcing their candidacy to become an order provider on the Obyte network. Very nice to see you guys. Good afternoon.
Nice to see you, Luke. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All
Thank
right.
you, Luke.
Thank you. So why don't we just start with the easy one? Why don't you just give us both a little bit of a background about yourselves, your current positions, what you're doing at the university, so we get a little bit, get to know you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Luke, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to connect online with you, and thank you very much for inviting us. We're very excited for the opportunity to engage with the Obyte ecosystem. Fortunately, the entire globe is facing very difficult times, as we know, with the virus. So I would like to take this opportunity before we begin to wish to everybody to stay home and stay strong and healthy. Hopefully this will be in the past very soon. So with regards to myself, hi again, my name is Klitos Christodoulou. I hold a PhD in computer science, and I'm also an assistant professor at the University of Nicosia, and also the research manager at the Institute for the Future. And I guess that we will have the chance to introduce the Institute for the Future in a bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Also, once again, thank you very much for the invitation, Luke. And my immediate next message to all is stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. And yes, we can continue. My name is Elias Iosif. I am a senior researcher and as well as a faculty member at IFF, closely collaborating with the research team across a variety of topics with particular emphasis on blockchain technologies, as well as other things such as the integration of blockchain with machine learning and similar technologies and ideas there. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen, for that introduction. Now, obviously, as you mentioned, you're both faculty members at the University of Nicosia, which is, I think most of our community knows, but is one of the leading institutions in the world in terms of its educational programs for blockchain, cryptocurrency, distributed ledger technology. But why don't you tell us a little bit in more detail about the kind of things that the university is doing to support our DLT community?
So let me introduce by saying a few words about the Institute for the Future. It's an interdisciplinary research center which is located at the University of Nicosia in Cyprus. The aim of the institution is to, among others, to advance emerging technologies and contribute to their effective application in the industry, government sector, education, and as well to evaluate the impact that these technologies may have on employment, on wealth inequality, and our lives and societies in general. So we have a general mission at the Institute for the Future, which is to educate leaders and develop knowledge and build communities that will help our societies to prepare for a future that is shaped by transformative technologies. At the moment, the Institute hosts around 40 faculty, researchers, and support staff from the University of Nicosia, but also from other partner institutions. And we are very active in doing research in mostly aspects that relate to distributed ledgers, blockchain-based systems, alternative data structures, consensus mechanisms, and digital currencies. And we also are very, very active, as you said, Luke, in our academic programs, our education activities. We were one of the first institutions to understand that there is a knowledge gap between the people that are interested in the technology and the technology itself. So in order to act on this, we have created various programs that allow people to be educated in the subject. We started back in 2014 offering a massive online open course, Introduction to Digital Currencies, that has been taught by two global leaders in the space, Andreas Antonopoulos and Antonis Polemidis, our CEO. And from this course, actually this course was offered already to more than 40,000 people online. And also we have our MSc program, which is very successful, and it was the first actually full academic program at the MSc level offering education on digital ledgers and cryptocurrencies.
Okay, well, thank you for that comprehensive introduction. Elias, was there anything else you would like to add to that, or did Klitos cover it all?
I think, yes, Klitos covered all the major dimensions.
Excellent. Well, then maybe you can tell a little bit about personally sort of what really attracts you about the DLT space. What's your interest in it, and how, why you decided to get involved in this particular field?
Yes, let me start by sharing with you my personal story, how things started, and I think my story is quite interesting, and I will briefly explain. Let's say my traditional, my pre-blockchain area of expertise, my PhD area of focus is a mixture of natural language processing, human language technologies, and machine learning. So back in 2012, I was working in the area of spoken dialogue systems, and me and my team, we have developed an algorithm for mining data for extracting knowledge automatically from the web in order to train a spoken dialogue system. So one day we noticed that the algorithm has discovered a weird term, Bitcoin, which was associated with traditional, currencies. And during the evaluation of the algorithm, we considered this discovery as an error. So we somehow penalized the performance of the algorithm. We forgot about this term, and I rediscovered this term after a few years, and decided to enter the research team at IFF, motivated by the great vision of blockchain technology, which is, of course, decentralization, giving power to the community, moving things bottom up. Mm-hmm. And yes, we have great tools right now to move to new digital transformations across the entire society.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I think the vision of Bitcoin and of blockchain and DLT is something that's was very attractive, I think, to most of the people that are in the space, and it's what we got us started. Where do you see it kind of going now? Right, we've now had Bitcoin for over 10 years. DLTs has continued to evolve. There's now so many different projects, coins, platforms. What do you see as kind of the future at the Institute of the Future? What do you see as the future for the development of DLT?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to forecast, but of course, it's pretty evident that it moved a lot since the initial idea of digital currencies, and distributed ledgers have emerged and moved a long way through, and they have a long history now. It's not just crypto. I think that we have definitely passed well this stage. Personally, I believe that there are broadly the following areas that people are focusing now, and as researchers we are mostly concerned, which is of course the blockchain trilemma, as it's been described in the research field, that has to do with research on the underlying on the fundamentals of the protocols in order to solve various challenges such as the scalability, security, and decentralization. And this implies indirect advanced research in the field. There is also this idea of decentralized finance that was definitely not something that was considered back in 2013 or 2010. Alternative financial systems that are emerging, many opportunities there. We have also been looking on stable coins and their different variations. And of course, one of the very interesting aspects that we have already started working on is on the emergence of this technology with other more, if you like, traditional technologies that have been in the past, like artificial intelligence, for example, machine learning, and Internet of Things. And we believe that this is important for the digital transformation for the future in order to enable machine-to-machine interactions and also micropayments. And Obyte platform is one of the protocols that intrigue the interest of our research group. And due to this, if you like, human readable smart contracts that we are offering, that we think and believe that are useful for doing micropayments. And of course, finally, I would like to say that there are also at the application level various interesting dimensions, such as autonomous decentralized systems that we have been looking, and also alternative forms of governance, which, as Elias mentioned, they are built through the society, and these governance models are built bottom up in this case because the power is on the citizens itself, on the users. And this is pretty amazing for the technology.
Yes, awesome. Well, you mentioned Obyte there, and that it piqued your interest. I'm just curious, how is it that you came across the project? What was your introduction to Obyte?
So it's as part of our community building up activities in the space. We definitely embrace the development of innovative projects like Obyte, and one of the characteristics of Obyte that was inspiring us to further investigate Obyte was his direct acyclic graph, the structure that is being used by the protocol itself. And pretty much it started from there. We started looking on alternative data structures and how this could be used in blockchain-based systems. And Obyte was one of the projects that intrigued our interest from the beginning.
As well as, let me also add that both me and Klitos, we are computer scientists and engineers, and we, have a huge love for structures like graphs. I mean, from many perspectives.
Sure. Yes, I'm sure you and Tony, our founder, would have lots to discuss about
Yes.
the structure. Well, hopefully once we're able to travel again, we can get together and have that discussion face to face would be good. Okay, so obviously, you guys know Obyte pretty well. What are some of the other crypto projects that you're fans of, or that you find interesting, and some of the features maybe of certain projects that you find intriguing?
I think that this is really difficult to answer, and I will explain. Actually, there are numerous projects out there serving a variety of needs, and I believe that each of these attempts serves a specific purpose. So according to the bottom-up spirit, I think useful to let things evolve. I mean, in the bottom-up way, and for that particular reason, it is difficult for me to express any particular preference. But of course, as our action speaks for ourselves, Obyte can, of course, be is part of our preferences for our activities. But at the same time, I mean, the idea is to be open to every interesting approach and attempt. This is the spirit of decentralization.
Well,
Let
it
the
is.
community,
And the spirit of research.
Exactly.
Exactly. Let the community.
Kind of agnostic in terms of the platforms that we are investigating and researching, and it is quite interesting to see the different features that evolve the original idea. Let's say the first proposal of such systems, the distributed ledgers. It is very interesting to observe new features, improvements, and challenges that emerged through this first paper that was published.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Klitos, you also mentioned, yeah, you're interested in consensus mechanisms. Obviously, well, you're announcing your candidacy to become an order provider or witness on our network. That's essential to our consensus mechanism. And can you tell us a little bit about your thought process and your decision about why you want to do that, and what benefits you can see for the IFF by joining the Obyte network and becoming an order provider?
Yeah. So let me start by saying a few things about the idea of consensus and being a witness in Obyte, which is a very critical component of the system with respect to safeguarding the network itself. So as long as the majority of the nodes are behaving honestly, then the witness nodes are acting as gatekeepers, preventing double spend attacks, etc. And mainly our involvement is to increase the decentralization degree of the network with respect to that. So mainly we're very interested into, first of all, exploring the witness system that is being implemented by Obyte, but at the same time contributed to the community and improving the decentralization degree of the network. And that's the main reason for us of announcing IFF's candidacy to become an Obyte witness node. On top of everything that we have said in terms of exploring and exploring the system and actually doing core research on the protocol itself.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it is the essential function, right? We can't be a decentralized system if all our nodes are controlled by one entity. So yeah, it's really been our priority over the last few months, really starting toward the end of this year, continuing now. We just concluded yesterday our poll to announce our fifth independent witness or decentralized witness node, the order provider node, Bind Creative. So yeah, you guys will enter the poll to become then the sixth, and then one more, and then the majority will be decentralized, which will be a huge milestone for us. So each step is closer and closer. So we certainly are excited to have you involved. You mentioned also, doing some research on the system. When you think about what kind of research you could do, or what kind of conclusions then you can take from that research about consensus mechanisms, what are some of the ideas that you were thinking about? I mean, obviously, there's lots that needs to be done to implement that research, but just in terms of ideas or things that you think,
yes,
would be beneficial for you guys and be beneficial to the crypto or the DLT community as a whole.
Exactly. One of the main activities that we have been conducting lately is benchmarking, if you like, or stress testing various consensus algorithms. There is a variety of consensus algorithms that influenced from the traditional proof of work to POS systems, from Byzantine fault tolerance, more traditional algorithms from distributed systems. But there is lack of a concrete, if you like, methodology or a framework for assessing such algorithms. So one of the first items that we have in our agenda is to understand the behavior of consensus in systems, and also Obyte will be one of the candidates that we will be analyzing and exploring further.
Okay. Yeah, well, everyone's very, keen to see the networks performing at a high volume. Yeah, we've heard lots of claims from lots of platforms about their throughput transactions per second, but that's all well and good. But so far there's not the demand even for the high volume of transactions. When people are comparing it to transaction processing networks like Visa, MasterCard, etc. So I think having exactly a methodology to do that and to really understand how these networks perform under a high capacity or under a high volume of transactions would be super interesting to get really a independent sort of look as to how everyone performs, for sure. Excellent. So in terms of then kind of going forward then with the collaboration, aside from obviously running the witness node, the order provider node, you've already started, I think, with some other collaborations in terms of supporting the Obyte community. You want to talk a little bit about your first contribution and maybe some other ideas that you might have for the future?
So our first contribution was mostly based on the technical aspect on setting up the Obyte witness node in a Docker container and Dockerize the entire process. So it's much easier for people to set it up. So we managed to share that with the community as our first attempt to further experiment with the technical dimension of the project. So that was actually for us the opportunity to engage and on a hands-on approach by understanding the technicalities. So, but further moving from this, we're looking to getting into the more depth in a more depth understanding of the core characteristics of the platform itself. And as I mentioned earlier, the robustness of a network is very dependent on the consensus algorithm. So we're much interested in understanding the specificities of how the consensus works and the protocol in general.
Excellent, excellent. Well, and also then in the spirit of transparency and decentralization, obviously we're always working to improve Obyte, improve the platform, improve the protocol. Obviously you're familiar with the system, you're going to get much more familiar in greater detail. But as of right now, are there anything that or suggestions that maybe you can make about things to improve or things that you see could use further development within the protocol or within the platform?
So in general, there are many opportunities, definitely. We cannot forecast how research will evolve. So we have to do our first exploration in order to set a dimension for us to further work on. But there are, from a very initial, I guess, perspective, the human readable contracts that are also offered by Obyte is a very interesting aspect compared to the more, if you like, complex smart contract systems and expressivity that is offered by other platforms. And we believe that such actions that are human readable, understandable, could also be used, as I said earlier, for micropayments at scale. And this feature will definitely enable machine-to-machine communication. Therefore, it's something also in our agenda to further explore. And we would be happy to work with the Obyte team with regards to that as well.
One of the most exciting core characteristics of research, of applied research, is the fact that you cannot have 100% a setup of research boundaries a priori. meaning that while you are, investigating something, new research ideas and avenues arise. So we are almost sure that during our research, we will come up with many new ideas. Just to imagine a few of them. For example, imagine smart contracts being responsible for creating automatically other smart contracts. We may experiment with some exciting ideas from traditional, let's say, computer science disciplines. Imagine ideas from the statistical machine translation area, where being adapted into the automatic creation of smart contracts from other smart contracts to degrees of processing between smart contracts, the interface between smart contracts and natural language, and many things. Meaning that the spectrum is huge as far as research is concerned.
Yeah, well, the future is wide open for us. That's one of the most exciting things about this industry as a whole. So,
but Luke, also would like to say that especially right now, given the very difficult, the very hard times that the humanity is facing during the coronavirus crisis, I think all scientists and researchers need to reprioritize their research agendas and see where and under which conditions every new type of technology can contribute to this common effort to fight these unfortunate situations. I'm not suggesting that blockchain is the solution. However, as scientists, we need to also consider if and whether we can have even a tiny contribution to the society.
Yes, I agree 100%. I think we need to pull out all of the stops, leave no stone unturned. That's our role. That we're innovators. We're pushing technology forward to improve society. That's one of the sort of fundamental principles of blockchain, of DLT, is that it's decentralized. Ethos means that we all work together to find the solution, and I think that's something that definitely we want to continue to do, and we'll make our best efforts to contribute something. We'll see what it is, but I'm sure that we can at least have some sort of minor contribution to the efforts, for sure. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I think you've done a great job explaining what your intentions are, the value that certainly you guys can bring by running the witness node. Hopefully the value you can also extract, the learnings that you can take, the research that you can develop from working together with us. We're excited about the collaboration. So in any case, we look forward to working together with you going forward.
Thank you very much, Luke, for the opportunity. And there are obviously many challenges and opportunities, and we are looking forward to explore them. So thank you very much, and stay safe.
Yes, you too.
Stay home, stay safe.
Exactly. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.